Hello, my name's Reese, and today I'm here interviewing Sam.
Hi everybody, my name is Sam. I'm a junior here at Brandeis. I'm double majoring in biology and anthropology, and I'm minoring in chemistry on the pre-health track, and I am the captain of the Varsity swimming and diving team.
So when did you first start swimming?
Yeah, so I started when I was about 4 at the YMCA, and then, it moved up the ranks of the YMCA swim club, and then I joined up my first club team when I was about 8 or 9, and then never looked back. Swam club for 10 years, and then now we're here.
Yeah. How'd you decide that swim is something you wanted to pursue as a college experience?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of my friends on my club team also ended up swimming in college, and I think that was a culture that the club team really encouraged us to do, because all of our coaches swim in college. They all had really, really positive experiences with it, and they wanted us to get those positive experiences. So I think it was kind of just not ingrained in me. I really wanted to do it, but I was just so motivated by my club team and my friends on my club team to do it in college, because I wanted to get that kind of student athlete experience, because I had it in high school, and I was really, really grateful for all of the friends I got to meet through club swimming and high school swimming. So I wanted to kind of continue that when I was in college.
What was the recruitment process with Brandeis like?
Yeah, so I sent an email to Coach Nicole the summer in between my sophomore and my junior year of high school, which was during COVID, so nothing, I couldn't go and visit. But I sent her an email, she sent me an email back, and then I had a couple of calls with the assistant coach. And then they would do this thing during COVID where you would have Zooms with the other people on the team, so you could meet them. And I really liked everybody on the team. They all seemed super duper nice. And then that kind of just went on for my entire junior year of high school, just the constant back and forth. I'd update them on the meets I went to and the times that I swam, whatever. And then the summer in between my junior and my senior year, I ended up visiting, and I really, really liked it. I got a little tour from one of the people on the team. And then started my senior year of high school, spent some time with it, and then ended up deciding that Brandeis was the place for me.
Do you know what factor was really stood out to you about Brandeis?
Yeah, I think the family aspect of the team was something that I could tell when I was in the recruiting process, just because you can't fake that in college athletics, and it is really a genuine part of what our team strives to have. And I could tell that even when I wasn't on the team, and I could tell that was something that I wanted to be a part of and kind of continue that tradition. But it was something that I could blatantly see from even being an outsider on the team before I even came here.
What was your POV on D3 sports before Brandeis, and how do you think now?
I don't think my opinion changed. I always really held Division III sports to a high standard, because there are schools like Brandeis that do place such a high emphasis on academics, and I didn't want to lose that. If you went Division II or Division I wanted to kind of uphold that level of academic integrity and academic preparation, and I don't think I would have been able to have such a student-athlete life balance that I would if it weren't for Division III sports, because I'm still able to compete at a really, 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 really high level, while also staying on top of school and getting a really good education and doing other things working here and all that kind of stuff.
How would you describe your average week at Brandeis, between class and practice? What is your division of time like?
Yeah, so practice is usually always in the mornings, so it'll usually start around 6.
Okay.
But we have something called the 15-minute rule, where you have to be on deck in your suit, ready to get in the water 15 minutes before practice actually starts. And that's something that I really value, because it's, time commitment and discipline and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So if that's 5:45, I'll leave for the pool at 5:30, so up 5:15. And then we'll practice from 6 to 8 usually. But when I had an 8 a.m., I had to get out at 7:30.
Oh no.
Eat something, probably while running to class. And then, you'd have class from probably last semester was exciting, 8 a.m. 3 days a week, so I would get out at 7:30 every day.
Okay.
But I would have class, and then I would have a little break, and then more class, and then we would probably eat with teammates for lunch, and then probably 1 or 2 afternoon, evening classes, and then I would go home and probably just do work with my roommates. I live with 4 other swimmers, so we all kind of have the same schedule. We're all 4 STEM swimmers,
Oh.
so we all pretty much have the
You guys
exact
have
same
fun.
schedule.
Okay.
And so we'll all do work together in our living room or whatever, and then we'll all eat dinner, cook dinner, and then we usually do lights out at like 9:30. Pretty early night, and that's what I would say like most of my days look like. Throw in some coming to admissions and working here and there when I'm free, but yeah.
How often do you guys have meets?
So meets run from September to February.
So winter season?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're a winter sport, and we usually have our first meet. We have like an alumni meet, which is just like an inter squad, which isn't like a real meet, but it's like a whatever. Like the alumni come and it's
Okay,
really,
like
really
a
fun.
scrimmage
Yeah,
vibe?
kind of.
Okay.
And then like we'll get split up into a blue team and a white team, and then like those that's how the points will get scored. And then we'll go against a couple schools in October and November, and then we have our mid-season meet at the beginning of December before break,
Mhm.
and then we go home for break, and then we go on a training trip in January before the semester starts. My first year, my sophomore year, we went to Puerto Rico, and then last year we
Ooh.
went to Florida, and then we'll have a couple meets in January. Our senior meet will be at the end of January, and then we'll go to UAAs in February, and that's like our championship meet, and that's kind of like the last one, and then you're done.
How do you balance like your athletic life when you're on break, or like how does that go for you? Like what about weekends? Like what do you do?
Yeah, so we, during the season, we'll have practices on Saturdays to some capacity. It'll be like 8 to 10 instead of
Mhm.
6 to 8. But during breaks, I usually, it depends if I'm like home or if I'm like not home.
Mhm.
Like if I'm not home, like running, finding some pool. Like I remember I was at my grandparents' house over break, winter break this year for Christmas, and like obviously I didn't have like a club team to practice with, so we just like paid $20 for a week of a YMCA membership. I just used the pool.
Comes
like,
back to the why.
It goes back to the why. Come full circle moments sometimes. But our coach is really good about like, we have a shared Google Drive of just like probably 80 different swim workouts that we could do. And she's like, this is what you have. You can do that. And then we did something as captains this year for the first time, which I think worked really well, was we split the team up into 3 different groups. And over break, you had to log what you did every day in a shared Google Drive and like how many minutes of activity it was. And then whatever team of the group of 3 like had the most minutes, you got to pick a practice at training trip. So that was really, really fun. So it was like competition during break to like hold us accountable. You know what I mean? So like you could see like, especially like the captains would be like, oh, like so-and-so didn't log minutes this day. Like, let's see what they're up to. And I think that like is something that we're going to carry moving forward during breaks, because that kind of like reinforces like the commitment and the discipline for the team and stuff like that.
I did swim for a while. I feel like something that makes it interesting is that it's kind of like individual and also a team sport, because there's like relays, but also like your own events within all accounts are the same. Like, what's your take on that? And then like,
Yeah, I think it's much more team oriented in college than it is in high school or club, just because like these are also people that you're living with and spending your day with, and like these are people you see all the time. In high school and club, it's like you see these people for 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And especially club swimming, it's so individual because everybody's out for their own goal. And like club meets aren't really scored like by points, really. And it's just kind of like invitationals. And like there is like points, but like it doesn't really matter. Like nobody's getting anything if they win. But I think in college, like when it's like you against one other school, it's really like, it's way more fun to like want to score points than want you. And like these are people that, again, like you're seeing every day, like you want them to do well because you know what they've been doing in the pool and out of the pool every day. So I think it's much more team oriented in college. And like, yeah, like you can be focused on your individual swims, but like that's not as fun, in my opinion, to be so focused on yourself when you're swimming, because then you get in your own head too much, and then like you're not gonna have as much fun.
Can you talk through like the different events that you do and like which one's your favorite?
So I swim distance freestyle, the 400 IM, and the 200 butterfly.
Okay, so long.
Oh yeah,
for a
long
while.
swims. I've always been kind of like a distance swimmer my entire life, and I don't know, I have fun with it. I'm not one to like do the short stuff and give up easily, so the longest events are what I usually swim. And I would have to say my favorite I don't know. I don't have a favorite, but I do really like training different, because like swimming you're swimming all 4 strokes, so you get to train all 4 strokes, and I honestly really like the balance that I've created in college, because in high school I pretty much only did distance freestyle, so that was just like distance set every single day. But at Brandeis I'm able to, there was kind of a hole when I came in the 400 IM group, and when I was a first year, a couple of my teammates were like, like we were all kind of good at this thing in high school, like kind of good at this race in high school, let's start like a 400 IM group and practice together, like separate from the 200 IM group. So there's like, depending on the day, 5 or 6 of us. I think we've become the coach's favorite group. I think we're the hardest working group, and I really like training with them. But then sometimes I'll go off and I'll do my own kind of distance set, and then once in a while throw on just a butterfly day. So it depends on the day. But yeah, definitely the longer swims are my favorite.
Could you tell us about like your coaches a little bit? Like, what are they like?
So we have 2, Coach Nick and Nicole. They're both, Nicole's like my mom and Nick's like my older brother. And, I think I wouldn't be here and have done all these successes if it weren't for their encouragement. I think they both do a really good job of making sure that we get out there our first year and moving forward. Like, they encouraged me to apply to this job at admissions. They encouraged me to, get out there, make friends that aren't on the team. They encouraged me to like still stay with it in my major. Like, they are really, really on top of us swimming wise. Like, they have to be because that's their job, but they take that to another level by staying on top of us outside of the pool. And like now, even that we're in the off season, like they're still like talking to us, checking in on us, like doing all those things. So I can't speak higher of them.
Yeah. I guess like speaking of like other sides of school, like are you in other clubs? Like how do you balance, or like do you have any other things you do besides swim at school, I guess?
So I work here, obviously, but I'm also a Roosevelt Fellow, and we're the peer academic advisors for incoming first years. And I think like balancing all that has been fine. Like in high school I did, swim in school, and like I think doing it so early when I was in high school and middle school kind of put a sense of discipline into me that like I know I have to get X, Y, and Z done by a certain day or a certain time, and I think I just kind of rode that wave in college and kind of just haven't looked back.
Not a bad thing, I think.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
Is there like a misconception about swim or being like a student athlete you would like to get rid of?
I think there's a misconception that student athletes like get away with stuff. A lot of times, like oh, they get to miss this exam, or like oh, they get to like do whatever, like they get like we're not, you know what I mean? Like instead of taking an exam when we're missing it for a meet or a game or whatever, we're taking it 3 days early. So you know what I mean? Like that's the trade-off that you have to make. So like we're taking it at the meet. Like at UAAs this year, I took a biostats quiz at the swim meet. So it's like I need to get out of like lock in for swim and lock back in for school, and like that's not fun. You know what I mean? Like I would much rather have just taken it with the rest of the class, or like been there for lectures, and now we have to catch back up on all this stuff. So it really isn't like easier school-wise, but sometimes people think it is.
Do you guys have any like pre-meet traditions or rituals you go through?
So I have one for myself, and I'll talk about ones we do for the team. So the one I do for myself is I have worn the same pair of tennis shoes to every single swim meet that I've ever gone to since 7th grade. Yeah, they're a pair of Adidas Ultra Boosts that I have worn every single swim meet since 7th grade. So that's my pre-meet ritual, is to bring those shoes and wear them. They have like holes in them and they're gross, but it's okay. I only have 1 year left of college swimming, so I might as well just ride the wave all the way.
Just ride the wave.
But a couple of things that the team does before our mid-season meet and our championship meet, we'll write letters of gratitude to every single person on the team, kind of like encouraging them, motivating them, like, oh, like Reese, I know you're going to do such a great job. I see you working in practice. Like, you're going to kill it at Gompy. That's our mid-season meet. And you open them the first day to kind of like push you through. And then we have something called GAs, which are Guardian Angels, and we have them for our mid-season meet, training trip, and our championship meet. And you pick out of a hat and you get someone. So let's say like I pick Reese. So my job is to keep an eye out on Reese for the entire swim meet or the entire training trip, and I'll write her a note, I'll get her like her favorite pre-meet snack, like I'll be like, oh, and like you aren't supposed to know who I am, so it's supposed to be secret. And you'll like if it's like your friend and they know it's like an inside joke, like they'll get you something for that. Like I know this past year at our championship meet UAAs, my roommate had me, but I didn't know. But one of our inside jokes is that of going back to the shoes, that the shoes are nasty and gross, so he got me a bunch of socks to wear with the shoes, so he said at least your socks aren't gross too.
Oh, very cute.
So like there'll be like cute stuff like that, and I'm like, who knew that? And then at the end of the meet you go around and you guess who you thought you had, and that's really, really fun. And then after every single meet on the bus ride back, we'll do something called TLs, which is Team Love, and everybody stands up and one at a time be like, oh, I want to give a TL to Reese because she had a really hard lineup, but she had a positive attitude and blah, blah, blah. And that's, I think, a really good point to recognize people who not only were like scoring really well in their events, but like people who, you saw them working hard in practice this week, and then you saw them execute something at the swim meet that they've been working on all week. So that's kind of that opportunity to like do that. And then I started something last year. This is the last one I'm talking about. There's a lot.
Do more.
I started something last year at our mid-season meet where instead of doing TLs at those like 3-day long swim meets, we got a piece of poster board and we just stuck it up on the bleachers where we were sitting, and there was just a marker hanging from it, and you can write like a TL to a teammate, and then it's up for the whole weekend. So it'd be like, Reese killed it in her 50 free, and then it's up for the whole weekend, and then we take it home and then we hang them up at the pool.
Oh, way cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any like specific warm-ups or things you do during practice that you really like to do?
Yeah, so mine is a little bit different and longer because I'm warming up for such longer events. Usually we have like 30 minutes to an hour of warm-up, and I'll be in there the whole time. And my warm-up, I like to get over 2,000 yards in warm-up before I like feel ready. But I'll usually do like a flush-out swim, like 600 yards, whatever. And then I'll do a 400 IM, 50 kick, 25 drill, 25 swim. And then that gets you to 1,000. And then I like to do a little bit of pace. And then I do some fast stuff off the blocks, and I do some more pace. And then I'll get my body ready outside of the pool, like stretching. I have this mega green band that I like tie to my feet, and I pull it up. And if you're listening, I don't know how to else to describe it, but you have to like hook it in and like stretch your legs and like all this stuff. But everybody makes fun of me because I carry it around everywhere. So yeah, that's kind of what I do pretty much every meet. It works, so.
What would you say your proudest memories have been on the team, like either for yourself or like as a group?
Yeah, for myself, I think, one of our like rivals in the swim team is Bentley. Last season and the season before that, I have always been like seated really close to this one kid who goes to Bentley, and in the 200 butterfly, and every year it's like, oh, like who's it gonna be, like blah 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 blah. My first year I didn't do it because I did the 1,000 instead. The beef wasn't started yet. But my sophomore year I was behind, and like behind by like probably a body length, but like my entire team was like behind the blocks and cheering for me. So I was like, I gotta do it. So I like put my head down, raced as hard as I could, and I ended up out touching him. And I did it again junior year. And junior year I was we were like the 200 butterflies like kind of in the middle of the meet, like the meet lineup, and Brandeis hadn't won a single individual event yet for the men's side.
Okay. And
I was the first one, and it was like, wow. So that felt really, really good. I don't know, that sounds kind of selfish.
No, you're right.
But then, yeah, another proud moment was this past UAAs. I was the only person to score in 2 individual events for Brandeis, and I scored the most points on the men's side, and that was really like good for me. Like all my hard work had actually paid off. I got athlete of the week.
Okay.
So that was really, really fun. But I'm more proud of the stuff that we've done as a team. I think being a captain this year, I've really been able to try my hand at like cultivating the team culture into something that I think is really, really beneficial. And it like is really great for me to see when, we're doing those little things without needing to be asked. Like establishing like, oh, we're warming up and cooling down, like we're taking care of our bodies before the swim meet, like we're like really being really good teammates. We're always behind our blocks. We're never on our phones. Like we're never sitting down during a swim meet. We're always cheering. We're always up. It doesn't matter if nobody in the pool is in the water. We're always up, doing something, taking care of our bodies, cheering, talking to coaches, and then that translates into like outside of the classroom, like making sure that everybody's being held accountable with school and like all that kind of stuff. And like when we're out like in public as a team, like it's just like so easy now. Like it's just like the team has grown so much, I think, as people that we work so well together, and that's something that I'm really, really proud of.
Okay. One of my questions is, like, just in general for the meet, how long do they last? Because you said it's a couple of days. Is it, like, 4 hours and, like, a break and more, or, like?
So it depends. So there will be dual meets where it's, like, just you against one other school,
okay.
And that will be usually from, like, 1 to 4 of actual swimming, but you'll get there at, like, 11:30, warm up from 11:30 to 12:30, and then diving will be for 30 minutes, and then, like, whatever. So I would say, like, it's an all-day affair.
Okay.
If it's, like, just you, because you're also exhausted, so by the time you get home, you just want to go to bed. So those are those like dual meets, but then there's a mid-season meet and our championship meet, which is against a bunch of other schools. And those will be, our mid-season meet is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we'll have prelims and finals. So prelims is when everybody swims, and that's from like, starts at 8, goes till about like 11:30 noon. And then if you're in the top 24 in your event, you come back and you submit at finals. And finals will be at like 4 or 5, so you'll have a break from like 12 to 4, and then you'll come back and swim your event again from 4 to 8, and that'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But for UAAs, it starts on a Wednesday and ends on a Saturday, but you leave on a Tuesday, so you miss a whole week of school. So, this year we flew down to Atlanta on Tuesday, swam in the pool, just like shakeout swim Tuesday night, and then Wednesday is the 800 free relay. So then you swim Wednesday, and that's the only thing that's on Wednesday is the 800 free relay. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday kind of follows the schedule that the mid-season meet does, where it's like in the morning prelims and then at night finals. And then you go home Sunday.
So you're very, very tired, basically.
Very, very tired, yes. Nobody talks to each other on the plane on the ride home.
Yeah, cut the cameras.
Yeah, cut the cameras.
I remembered my question from earlier. Speaking of the camera. So personally, when I'm on Instagram, I always see when you guys get flicked up for media day and stuff like that. What is that like? Like, I feel like it's really awkward. But I guess if you guys are all like buddies, it's more fun. But
yeah, I think like it is really fun to like hype up your teammates for media day, and especially because like we talk about media day like months in advance. Like there's like been plans for what pictures we want for media day months in advance, and like it can be so much more fun when you're having fun with it. Like we already see each other in Speedos and swimsuits every day, so it's like not uncomfortable at all for us. But we have a really, really fun time. Like the classes all take pictures together, so like sophomore class, junior class all takes, like that's planned, and nobody knows what the juniors or the seniors are gonna do until that day, and that's really, really fun. And like, I don't know, it's just like fun to get like funny pictures. Like I remember we pretended like one time that like we were golfing in media day, like somebody brought their clubs, and like probably the photographer probably doesn't like us because we have too much fun.
Too many props.
Yeah, we get too silly. But we get the headshots, and that's the important part. It is really fun. I have a good time.
So does the swim team ever interact with like other sports on campus, or is there any kind of like community there?
Yeah, I think there 100% is an athletics community. I think we all kind of like, not like stand in solidarity with each other, but like we all like are
allies.
Like like we like know each other, like we're all in gauze, like we know of each other, we're all in classes together, like we talk about like the student athlete experience, like we have the same kind of like sports are different, but like sports are sports at the end of the day, and like we kind of can connect on that level. So it is really fun to have friends who are athletes on other teams, and then like that opens up like pretty much a whole nother friend group for you, because like everybody's kind of cool with each other, and that's really, really fun, and like something that I didn't think I was gonna get in college, but like now it's just like super easy, and yeah, it's something that's really, really nice.
What's it like how would you view the gym differently than other students? Like, would you say, like, what's it like for you? Because I know that we have like the varsity facility and then like the rest of the gym basically, but how's sharing the pool?
It's fine. I mean, it's fine because we get priority, you know what I mean? Like there's like the time blocked out for us. It can be kind of funky when like we're in off season, we don't have a scheduled pool time, and we swim with like open lap, so it's kind of hard when like there's a professor who's like 80 years old swimming in the pool. So like we do our best to like give them their space and like have our space to like do our practice. But like it's fine. Like I really don't think that there's I don't know. I kind of just bebop around in the gym. Like it's fun. You know what I mean? Like I don't like to think that there is a divide between varsity and non-varsity sports other than the varsity weight room, and that's just there because it like makes sense for it to be there.
Yeah. Period. So in general, do you like to go see sports? Like, do you have a sport you like to watch or something?
I think like living in Boston, it's really fun to go to Red Sox games.
Yeah.
Like student nines is like probably one of my favorite things about going to school here, because like it's so fun when like student nines comes out and everybody freaks out and starts texting each other like, oh, who's gonna come, and then we get a whole group to go. That's really, really fun. I mean, I don't like watching baseball on TV, but it's fun to like actually be there. And then growing up in Charlotte, I think I've become kind of like a Tar Heel basketball fan. So even though they're not doing really good this year, it is really fun to watch like UNC basketball.
Could you explain what the student nines are?
Yeah, so student nines is you sign up. Anyone who has like a .edu email can sign up for student nines. So when you come to Brandeis, like you'll get like your Brandeis email, and that's the email you use for student nines. And basically any Red Sox home game, they'll text you day of and say that, oh, like tickets are $9, and you like they run out like quick, so you have to like kind of jump on it. So like everybody goes like checks their friends. I remember one time I was like sitting in Orgo lab and not paying attention, and we got student nines, and everybody like freaked out. We had like buy the tickets in lecture. But it's always really, really fun. It'll be like a Friday night or whatever, and that's just a really just like fun thing to do, and it's like super cheap too because like you can take the Green Line from Riverside by Brandeis and just take it all the way into Fenway, and it's super easy.
Do you have a favorite place to go in Boston in general?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. There's like things I like to do with my friends, and like we'll go and like do Dewberry, or like we'll go to the Boston Public Library, and that's really, really fun. But that's kind of like mainstream.
No,
but like that's super fun and cute.
What about like in Waltham?
Waltham, I would say I really like to go in the off season. I really like running. So I run a little bit more and swim a little bit less in the off season. But there's a path along the Charles River that's right by where I live, and you can take it pretty much all the way into Cambridge. And that's really, really fun. So like, and you can like make your run as long or as short as you want it to. And it's like really pretty in the spring and summer when it's like really nice out. And it's just like by the water, so it's like a little bit cooler than it is like running on the street. So that's probably like my favorite place to go in Waltham.
Can you shout out one of your teammates? Like maybe a teammate who like inspired you or something like that? Yeah,
I'll shout out my teammate Eva Parson, who also works in this office.
Yes, I've heard of her.
She is part of the reason that I applied to this job at Admissions, because she started working here before I did. And I think that her and I became really close because we worked in this job together. And then like she inspires me to be a better person every day, and like we have so much fun together. I think like anybody in the office knows that like you can't get any work done if the two of us are here at the same time, because we like to distract people. And I think that like she has helped me to like take myself less seriously and just like reminded me to like have fun and be in the moment. And like I think that also like has applied itself to swimming, and like I've learned to like have more fun at swimming because she has fun at swimming and stuff like that.
Okay, so how do you think that like having this athletic experience has impacted your like social experience or academic experience at Brandeis, or vice versa?
Yeah, I think being a student athlete comes with, you have 30 best friends built in when you first come here, and I know that that can be a sigh of relief, especially for me, like coming so far from home. It was like, I always have something to fall back on, but now I'm not scared to go out and make my own friends and like find people outside of the team. And I think that like balance is really, really important, and it's something that I'm grateful for. And I think that it like has again like it's shaped my academic experience, and that like it's helped me be a better student because it forces you to almost. And like socially, it just like, you do have like a family that comes like built in when you come to Brandeis, and like it can be hard sometimes to find that on your own, but having that from the get-go is really, really nice.
Did you guys have any like team bonding stuff before you came to school, like freshman year?
We like started like a group chat of all of the first years together and like talked to each other. But when we got here, I think it was more of because like a lot of us are coming from far away, so it is kind of hard to like do stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it is really fun like when you first get here to like kind of just like jump right into like everybody getting to know each other. Like we'll try to do a team dinner and we'll try to do like some sort of team bonding activity. This year we went to Six Flags as a team, which was really fun.
Which one, like New Jersey? Or
No,
something?
the one in Springfield, or Agawam.
There's one in the state?
Yeah, like in Springfield.
Oh.
Yeah, like an hour or half away. But yeah.
Very interesting. Okay. Would you have any advice to like prospective student athletes or something like that?
Yeah, I would say when you get here, like remember your why, and I think remembering why you love this sport and why you like wanted to come to a school like Brandeis is really important to remind yourself every single day, because your first year is hard no matter what. It's a lot. You're coming into a whole new place, whole new people. So remembering, like keeping yourself grounded your first year and kind of like grounded in yourself in terms of like why do you love swimming or why do you love your sport, and like exemplifying that every single day. Be so excited to come to practice, because not everybody gets the opportunity to do college athletics. Some people would, like kill to be in the position that you're in. So remembering like you should be really, really grateful for all the opportunities that you're given, and like taking that in full swing with academics and athletics, and like trying to be the best person that you can be, because Brandeis does really foster that environment here.
If there was one thing you would tell someone, like if they went to Brandeis, what's one thing you would say they have to do before they graduate?
Like get out into Boston and get out into like the greater like Waltham area. Like you can do all these amazing things in campus, and like when you come to Brandeis, like everybody's going to do that anyway, so that's a little bit like mainstream. Everybody's going to do the fun things on campus. So I would say like go out and like go to New York City for the weekend. It's only like there's an Amtrak away, or like go to the Cape. Go to the Cape. Like go do something that you never thought you were going to do in college.
So just kind of like looking into the future, scary but still, how do you think that your experience like at Brandeis as a student athlete will help you in the future? Like what kind of skills have you learned?
Yeah, I think like discipline, time management, like those are all like soft skills that you can take into any job. Mm-hmm. I still want to like swim after college, like obviously not at the level that I am right now, mm-hmm. but like I don't see my life without swimming. So I want to get still stay into it, but like career wise, I think it's super easy to take those skills and apply them elsewhere. It like waking up early, having deadlines, and like having like goals and being able to achieve those goals, and like knowing the steps that it takes to achieve really big things. Those are things that you can kind of take into any career, whether it's like medicine or healthcare or law or mm-hmm. business or whatever. Like it's like those are soft skills that I think people and employers are looking for. And I think when they see that you're a student athlete, especially at the college level, they know that you have those those basic skills that people
mm-hmm.
are looking for, that like you can't really train. Like those are just something that you have within you as a person.
Period. Okay, now we're going to do a section of rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Number 1, favorite professor?
Maria Myra.
Duncan, Starbucks, or Einstein's?
Duncan.
The owl mascot or the judge?
The owl.
Favorite class?
Human osteology.
Favorite Brandeis tradition?
Springfest.
One word to describe a Brandesian?
Passionate.
Favorite spot on campus?
Upper Goldfarb.
Okay. Must-see place in Waltham?
The running trail by the river.
Place you must eat at Waltham?
Treetop.
One piece of advice for incoming first years?
Don't take yourself too seriously in your first semester.
Thank you guys so much for watching. That was our interview with Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.